You've been waiting for more. You've been asking for more. And now he's back for more. Roger Moore returns in another incredible adventure, and we're back to what great movies are all about. And they're back. Spicy facets of female bondage. Roger Moore stars in Spice World.
Welcome to the James Bond complex. My name is Matt.
I'm Edgar.
And I'm Jason Kim.
Together, when we assemble, we become the I was going to say something really stupid, but we're the James Bond complex. And, this is our annual April Fool's podcast episode. And we struggled this year to actually find something. We think about these things way early. I think we started teasing the idea, I think I'm going to say October, right around the Halloween. We started asking ourselves, what are we doing this year? I don't remember who came up with the idea of doing, drum roll, Spice World, the movie.
Starring Roger Moore.
Starring Roger Moore.
And Alan Cumming.
And Alan Cumming. Richard E. Grant, which I was surprised to see.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
I
actually, when I saw Richard E. Grant, I was like, who did I see him from? And I did my Wikipedia research. Like, oh, he was in that shitty ass Rise of Skywalker film as a general.
Oh, I can't wait to read my plot synopsis to you guys.
and he was also the scientist in Logan. I was like, oh, it's that guy. I was like, but 20 years ago, obviously, but
yeah,
because I didn't realize he actually became like a big actor or like a
big actor,
not a big actor,
like a recognizable character actor.
Yeah, serviceable actor.
Yeah,
not an A-lister.
I think he's more than serviceable. He's quite good, but he's not a star. He's that guy you hire for a nice role, maybe in a big movie, but he's not the star of the big movie.
Yes,
but he has a decent role.
So, who came up with this idea of doing Spice World? I don't remember.
I don't remember, honestly.
Should I confess?
It was you?
Was it you? I don't remember that. Okay. So this is your fault. I see.
It's all Jason's fault. Had any of you seen that film before? And I'm curious because I've never seen. I was around when the boy and the girl bands were super popular. I remember the NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, and the Spice Girls. Of course, I think they were the most popular of all of them. They're the only ones who've had a movie based on their music and
yeah. Well, I mean, nowadays K-pop has skyrocketed, but even to this day, I think Spice Girls are ranked the most popular band of all time, and as popular as, popular girl band, and not like I'm not saying like the Beatles or ABBA, or the Queen, but like pop band, and as great as K-pop is, because I'm Korean, so I follow the trends of that, and they say
so good.
They say most analysts, most third-party analysts will say the only band that can ever reach the level that Spice Girls did is a Korean girl band called Blackpink, because like it's composed of 4 girls, 2 Korean, 1 Thai, and I forget the fourth nationality, but that's beside the point. But and I was
you didn't answer my question, Jason. Had you seen that film before?
Oh yes, I have.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not surprised. You have a younger sister. She was from. I'm not sure. She might have been the proper age to see that movie when.
She was like 4.
Okay,
but either way, I have friends, guys and girls, because like I was the proper age to see that film, because like my friends were in 3rd, 4th grade when Spice Girls.
You were the target audience. You were the target.
Audience.
He definitely was the target audience.
Oh yeah, of course, and yes, I've seen it before, and to be honest with you, I actually found, obviously, like I teased and made fun of that movie a lot when I saw it with my friends, but then watching it again 20 some years later, and I heard they did a screening in London in 2017 for 20th anniversary uh, return, and they said the reception was actually a lot more positive now than it was back then.
There's a little bit of Kubrickian and Scorsese qualities to Spice World.
Kubrick,
A little bit of Hitchcock. There's a little bit of Hitchcock in there.
A little bit of Nolan, a little bit
Yes.
of. Oh no, but there is a bit of Guy Hamilton in there. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I think when the sound was loud and they just started singing their songs, it was very Nolan-esque. I was like, I don't understand what's going on. I can't hear anything.
When the bus jumped over the tower bridge but they didn't actually jump. It was a toy figure that did it. That was very Guy Hamilton-esque, like a Man with the Golden Gun. So.
But it's a very forgettable movie. I watched it a few days ago, and I don't remember anything that happened in it.
That's okay. Go ahead. And
I can fix that for you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You're going to remind me what happens in Spice World. That's what I needed today.
Yeah. I wrote a synopsis. I don't know how much I got in all the details I got into it, but you know what? Considering the movie we just watched, I think I did okay. So
go ahead.
Let me start. Roger Moore plays the Sheath, the head of a major record label, who's concerned about Clifford, played by Rise of Skywalker's Richard E. Grant, and his ability to manage British sensation pop band the Spice Girls. But who are these Spice Girls? Well, according to the 1997 film, the all-female quintet that includes Victoria Adams, Melanie Brown, Emma Bunton, Melanie Chisholm, and Jerry Alwell are best friends that found fame and fortune thanks to their singing and dancing abilities. But on the eve of But on the eve of the young woman's most important concert at the Royal Albert Hall, forces have begun conspiring against the band. An evil press tycoon has manipulated and orchestrated a smear campaign. A film documentary crew has been chasing the band throughout England, and even aliens want a piece of the Spice Girls. But since this is only a movie, the girls are able to avoid all these obstacles after a temporary breakup and finally perform their hit songs to their young fans. Then, yeah, that's pretty much the Spice Girls. I skipped a bunch of stuff because, wow, man, that movie it
was a blur.
It's kind of fading from my memory, but at the same time, full confidence, I actually enjoyed it. I more than I thought I would. Like, is it the greatest film of all time? No, but I was watching it in sort of seeing the movie as if I was a parent, which I'm not, and my young daughter, my imaginary young daughter that I don't have, maybe she's about 10 years old, wanted to watch the Spice Girls movie. If I was sort of proofreading it for approval, I would have let her watch that movie. I actually had a good time, and there's some joke I genuinely laughed at, and harder than I expected to. It's a little bit weird. How about you guys?
No, that was my general impression too. I liked it better as an adult than when I watched it as a 10-year-old guy, because I made fun of because I remember when I was in elementary school, I made fun of people who were fans of Spice Girls and that's because that's what guys did. But like looking back at the 90s, like I could definitely see why Spice Girls were such a global phenomenon. And there's their famous song, if you want to be my lover, that was the #1 hit song in 37 countries when it was released.
Oh, somebody has been looking on the Wikipedia page of the Spice Girls.
Research. The thing about that song, though, it's an interesting song because it doesn't. It's not what's nice about the Spice Girls. They don't assume things. If you want to be my lover, they're not assuming that you do. But if you want to be their lover, here are the parameters under which that can transpire. Which I like that dedication to a plan and setting things out. They're a fantastic band. Just a great song.
And I thought I I mean watching this film again, as well as just like seeing how the five of them progressed post Spice Girls, and doing their reunions here and there. I thought this film captured like each of the five's personality really well, or I guess at least the facade that they presented. Because like I know Victoria, because I know Victoria. The reason I say that is because Victoria Beckham is always kind of comes off as like someone who like brushes people off the wrong way. But if you actually, I actually did some research, and I heard that she's actually not like that. And the reason I say is she growing up, because she's from a very wealthy family, and she never wanted to like boast about her family's wealth, and she always told her dad or driver to like drop her off at the side of the school so that she doesn't appear in a Rolls Royce to her school. So she always wanted to like be humble, even though like as
Humble
posh
brag.
Spice.
Humble brag. Look,
But
I'm rich, but I don't want to throw it in your face. So.
yeah, so I thought that was very respectable, and she's happily married to David Beckham for 20 plus years, and they have a good family. I mean, that's beside the point, but so like I think, but they're
Very
living
nice
a good.
story.
They're all good living, respectable lives. So
Yeah, none of them are complete screw ups today. They did well. They didn't lose all their money, and they're still touring. I feel not because they have to, but because they
because
must
because
enjoy
fans
themselves.
because they know that fans like to listen to them here and there, and they perform in the London. They perform both "Wannabe" as well as "Spice Up Your Life" the London closing at the closing ceremony of the London Olympics in 2012. Whereas Daniel Craig and Queen Elizabeth did the introduction, directed by Danny Boyle, by the way. Uh, they
We don't
Spice Girl.
recognize that name. We don't recognize that name.
The Spice Girls did the. They were all in the London caps, and did it. I enjoy their performance in the London Olympics.
Yeah,
I have no recollection of it, to
I
be honest.
don't remember, but speaking of the film, because that's what we're supposed to
Yeah.
discuss, not just the career of the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
The film starts with a musical number, and we are quickly introduced to the management team that supervises the Spice Girls. We meet. Well, I'm going to call them by the actor's name because I'm
Yeah.
not going to remember their. We have Richard E. Grant, which he plays a flamboyant, uh, almost Simon Cowell inspired manager. I think he was the Spice Girls manager at one point, but he's very flamboyantly dressed, and he always seems to be angry and anxiety written. We meet also Alan Cumming. He's a sort of a documentary
That.
filming the Spice Girls,
Mhm.
and obviously Roger Moore is sort of the head of the record label, and you see him in cutaways. They're playing with his persona as James Bond.
And
Uh,
he wears all as he plays his persona from James Bond. He wears his signature outfits as James Bond, because he wore a safari jacket. He wore an ivory tuxedo similar to what he wore in Man with the Golden Gun or Octopussy. He obviously wore a black tie, and he channeled in the end. He channeled, I guess, Blofeld with a Nehru jacket, a white. It was a white Nehru jacket, and he danced to uh, the Spice Girls when they're performing their final concert.
This
With
was
this,
Bond done. Was it when he retires from the Secret Service? I'm like, what
yeah,
shall I
he's
do
not
now?
the chief. He's James Bond pretending to be the chief. But
yeah,
what there's a meta quality to the film that because they shot that film probably around the same time. They were probably touring the entire world, and they were probably we have like 3 days here, 5 days there, and sort of doing bits on a subject. You see the aliens, as I mentioned in the synopsis, they look like crap. They look like extras of a Doctor Who episode. They look like Muppets. They're pretty bad, but they have all those locations, but they're not they're not the primary characters. Like the Richard E. Grant, for all purposes, is the lead character. He's the one that drives the story. He's the one that he's struggling to handle the Spice Girls. He's the one that's making deals to make a movie about the Spice Girls. He's always on the phone with Roger Moore, saying, "Yeah, I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job." He's always sort of he's losing control of the Spice Girls, and the Spice Girls are just like, we having our little adventures, and we live inside a bus. It's fun. Yeah, and I'm
Is he
like,
the one trying to do the movie? I thought it was like a couple of Americans that want to make the movie. I think they're trying to get in touch with him to make the movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're sort of pitching ideas. I think it must, because I also did a bit of research, but they're I think it's
Ooh.
inspired because Disney approached them to make their movie, and they rejected all the ideas that Disney had, and I think this is why it evolved into what it is. And there's not really a villain per se. There's like a the photographer that's always trying to grab or create scenarios for the Spice Girl to look bad into. But in another Disney-esque picture, he might have been punished, killed, went to jail. In this movie, he just, I'm gonna be good now, which
Well, there I'd
I
say there.
appreciate it. It's actually not a bad message for
Yeah.
children. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. And it's what's his face from that horror comedy movie Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's Richard Bryan or Bryan. I forget the name.
Oliver Brown.
Well,
No, he's Riff Raff in Rocky Horror Picture Show.
and then I guess there was somewhat of a villain, and because this is, I guess, the '90s was a time when British media was or portions of the British media were turning into like very paparazzi trash media, and this movie came out the same time as Tomorrow Never Dies. So I thought,
Hmm.
or like the December 1997. So both
Hmm.
TND and Spice World really predicted where Britain was heading in terms of their journalism industry. So in this film, sorry, Edgar. Sorry, Edgar, for your career prospects. But in this film, the daily events and that CEO of daily events who's like trying his best to like sell papers by destroying the Spice Girls. Like I guess he was kind of the villain, kind of like a Elliot Carver, and Daily Event was like a play on Daily Mirror or the
Hmm.
Mirror or Daily Mail in the UK, because they are known to be like the paparazzis or spreading trash news or is trying to sell themselves as trash news, and everyone knows that. And at the end,
That scene when we see the sort of the press mogul is the scene that I I cracked. It's just absurd. It's my type of humor.
oh,
it's just no sense whatsoever. And I'm like, oh, it's brilliant because it's complete nonsense when he's talking to sort of a reporter. I remember the
and
character's
and
name.
and, and the cameraman.
Yeah, and it starts raining inside the
Yeah.
office. I was like, genius. I laughed. I was like,
I
this
mean,
is
like,
something like red letter media would do at times, something just weird that is out of steps with everything else, that just to sort of shock you in like in the absurdity of it all. And I loved it. This is my favorite joke in the entire picture. i'm,
I
I'm,
mean, the,
I'm giggling still talking about it.
the jokes really aged well. That's what a lot of critics have said in the post or in the contemporary reviews, like saying like the movie actually is not as, even though it won like the Raspberry Awards or whatever, but like it's not as bad as the awards make it seem like.
Oh, it's what, these words that sometimes they're right, sometimes this seemed like a hit job. Somebody, like, people didn't know, but it truly felt like a hit job. Like, we can't let these women make a movie and be popular. They're already super popular, making lots of monies. If they make a movie, we can't let that happen. And it got a super bad rap when it came out. Uh, and it's because of that, not only because of that, but I've never seen. I only heard bad things about this movie, and I was like, wow, this is a quite decent and funny, and it's light. I'm not the target. I'm a man in his 40s. Like, the Spice Girls are not something I consume anymore. I've never
All right.
bought any of the things, but I still remember the era when you had stickers, you had albums, you had magazines, posters, probably candy. They had the Spice Girls placard on everything, and this was sort of the zenith of their popularity. I think which Nigeria Alley well quit like a year or two after.
Yeah. She was the first to quit for like unnamed reasons. I don't want to spread rumors, but the official reason was like she was kind of burnt out, and I'll accept that because like I think this movie really shows like how Roger Moore and Richard E. Grant's character like really pushed these girls to the
Mm.
limits, and that's kind of like the culture in a lot of like music industries today, or at least especially like group.
Especially at that time with
Yeah.
the pop bands, like
Oh yeah.
the marketed pop bands that they're not really. It's not like, oh, a couple of guys, couple of girls met and said, oh, let's make music. It just, there was a casting call and it's like, let's put these
Mm.
girls together and voila, you're the Spice Girls.
One of
Was
the
that how that came to be? Was that how the group came to be? I don't
Pretty
really know
much.
the history
I mean,
about.
I know like they all auditioned, and then
Mm.
I don't know the criteria because a lot of Korean K-pop bands do similar because like my aunt lives right next to the K-pop headquarters, so I know the full process, and I think a lot of despite
Inside
the
woman.
despite the cultural differences, I think the music industry kind of like translates globally the way that you know because it's a very well oiled machine. And
I
one of the
felt, oh,
go ahead.
sorry, you're, well, I found it fascinating that, the meta element, but also like I kept watching these girls, these women actually living in a bus and sort of being driven all over the place, and knowing that, yeah, they were probably being driven all over the world, being worked like, to the point of exhaustion. You see them going to Italy, they go back and forth, travel all over England, in their bus, and I'm like, and they're kind of treated like
Cattle.
cattle, yeah,
Yeah.
like cows. Like, we're gonna milk these women to the maximum. And yeah, I know it's a pretty
Yeah.
crass joke that I
Yeah.
made accidentally. Oops. But it's disturbing. I'm like, yeah, they had no break. They were doing concerts probably in the morning after, we're making a movie, yay! They must have had, they probably had nervous breakdowns at moments. It's inhuman. Like, I'm watching this movie, I'm like, they're sort of separated from the main plot. They have skits. They probably film, like I said, probably a few days here, few days there. They're sort of not driving the narrative, but they're having the little adventures. And I'm sure like 10-year old girls would love this kid. I'm like, oh, and probably they probably all had their favorites. And I'm like, I was comparing this to something. Jason, you're a little bit younger than us, but I'm pretty sure Edgar's going to remember that. When the Ninja Turtles, the first movie came out, the Insanity, in movie
Hmm.
theaters, I remember doing the queue for what seemed like hours, and I've never
Yeah.
seen that
Yeah.
many people waiting for a single film. Like, there was a queue like you wouldn't believe. That movie came out around, if I remember correctly, spring break 1990. This was the Ninja Turtles for young girls of the late 1990s. It's
Oh yeah.
insane.
I mean, like I said, we own the video cassette of this movie, and I didn't see it in theaters, but I know a lot of people in my third grade, fourth grade class did. And I mean, without going too much into the film, I mean, there's
When you mocked them, what were the reactions? Let's go back there. Let's talk about that a little bit. Were they defending the
that.
film?
Oh yeah, but it's all good. But it's
Good
okay.
for them.
But I mean, it's fine. But I mean, I enjoyed it watching it as an adult with like new
Yes,
lens
but
perspective.
what were your insults to these people when you were the proper age
Yeah,
to
let's get
insult
into
them?
that.
Yeah,
Let's not.
I want to know.
No, let's not get into that stuff.
Oh, no,
Actually,
no, no, no. Too much. You talked about it too much.
No, no, no. No,
no,
no, no, no. Let's not. We don't need to get into that. I
No.
was
yeah,
I was jokingly prying.
yeah, yeah,
No, but I get it. Like, back then, like, the music you like defined you as a person. If
yeah.
somebody didn't like,
Hmm.
I was too old to even make fun of this. Somebody loving the Spice Girls. I was so detached from those types of musician. I mean, I was graduating high school the following year. I was completely detached from it all. I'm like, oh, I honestly remember one of my my classmates saying, yeah, I'm going to see that movie with my girl. I'll be looking at Posh Spice the entire time because that was his favorite. So there's an appeal to the Spice Girls that there's no man has a favorite Backstreet Boy or NSYNC. Well, probably some dudes,
I
that
mean, it's probably Justin Timberlake most.
love other dudes, but yeah, it's not here or there to discuss. But as a heterosexual man, like everyone has their favorite, I guess, if you were the proper age.
I mean, I still think Jerry Halliwell is still my favorite, then and now, and she I really like, and if and to bring it back to Fleming after this film, she was to bring it back
Thank you, Jason. Thank
to
you.
bring it back to Fleming instead. She was approached to play Dr. Christmas Jones in The World Is Not Enough.
Okay.
There
In
was a
19
documentary that she did after she left the Spice Girls, and you actually see her going to the audition. And when wait, I haven't seen that documentary in eons now, like more than 20 years.
See what you did there?
You caught it. Oh.
Yeah.
But when you saw her walk in and walk out, and it's not the same woman that walked out, she knew she didn't get the part. She looked on, she was trying to put a brave face on it and a spin. That's, you could tell. No, she's not getting the part. They weren't impressed with her.
And to keep it along, The World Is Not Enough. While we're at it, there's a scene also in the Spice World. There is a speedboat chase down River Thames.
Yes. Is it the same boat? Is it the same boat? Because it really looks.
No, it's not the same boat, but it's the same exact location. And Richard E. Grant stands on the exact bridge that Pierce Brosnan goes under. You know, when the Q-boat goes under, he's standing in that same boat. I was like, wait a second, I was like, I know this location. So yes. So
it was so distracting. I was like, is that the same boat? It's the same location. When was this movie finished? Oh no, it's probably, it's the same city, but yeah,
if you look in the background, there's a shot where you can see as the Spice Girls are coming to camera, you can see Brosnan in the Q-boat in the distance. They're going in the other direction.
I wonder if you could do an edit where Brosnan actually causes the Spice Girls, because one of them falls in the river. I wonder if a good editor could sort of intermingle these scenes. That'd be pretty funny.
And then one of my favorite scene in this film was when they were doing their photo shoot in like the different costumes, like a pop. They were all like wearing pop culture costumes. So Ginger Spice, Jerry Halliwell, and Sporty Spice, Mel C were dressed as Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta of Grease, and they were posing as that, and to keep it Fleming-esque, formerly Victoria Adams, or Posh Victoria Beckham, now Posh Spice, dresses up as Honey Rider or Ursula Andress, and she's like, hello, and she holds her knife, is like, hello, Mr. Bond, or can I call you James? And she's like, do you like it shaken or not stirred? I was like, yes.
Do you like it shaken or not stirred? An interesting way of wording that.
And I remember even when I watched this film, I was like, hey, there's a James Bond reference, and James Bond is in this film.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, that's quite.
And every time we see him, I think he's petting a different animal. He's petting a rabbit, I think.
A pig.
Yeah, a piglet. And then, but to finish off my thought on that photo shoot scene, because this movie was made in '97, whatever. The guy who was the photographer, I had to look closely, and I was like, is that him? Is that the British actor Dominic West? I was like, holy crap! And I looked it up. I was like, it is Dominic West, because me living in Baltimore, I'm a huge fan of The Wire and Dominic West. So like
really?
The Wire, yeah.
Oh my god, I completely missed that. Now so I'm not gonna watch the Spice World again, probably ever, and it's slowly fading away from memory.
So I mean, just to finish it off, is the Dominic, because The Wire only came out 2-3 years after this movie came out. So like I was like, wow, his career took a huge jump from being an extra in Spice World to being a lead character in The Wire, and because he plays a lot more American. I mean, it's one of the few roles where I've actually seen him, with a British accent. I was like, oh, that's how that voice actually sounds like. And to keep it my personality related, he will play the next Prince Charles in The Crown.
Oh, there you go. I'm happy for him. I've always liked Dominic West. He's never. Well, then again, I haven't seen although The Wire is more of a ensemble, but He's never really or rare. I shouldn't say never. He's rarely the star of what he does, but I always like seeing him. I noticed him too. But look, when the producers of The Wire were saying, who are we going to get for this character? Like, have you seen Spice World? Like, we need to get that photographer.
Yep. And then, I mean, I know he's done British BBC dramas, which I haven't seen, like where he plays a lot more royalty. So Prince Charles is going to fit him very well. And the only other thing I've seen him in is when he plays Jigsaw in the Punisher movie, Punisher Warzone.
He's also in 300 playing a politician, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah. I think he's Laura Croft, father in the last one there, the one they rebooted.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he was. Yeah.
Yeah.
If he was.
He's a working actor. Oh, wait. Isn't he also in John Carter of Mars? Well, not Mars.
Never watched that movie and have no intentions to.
No, it's actually I would actually recommend.
Okay.
If you have Disney
right.
Plus, it's in there.
Okay.
It's a good movie. It has a bad rap because it cost $1 billion and didn't make that money back, but it doesn't speak of its quality. It's actually a very enjoyable
decent.
picture. I recommend it.
No, that's. I'm glad we were able to make a conversation about Dominic West, because I was worried that you guys wouldn't know who he was. I was like, holy crap, that is. And then and another cool cameo or actor I recognized was when Jerry Halliwell, went into the telephone booth and did the Superman twirl and came out of.
Oh, it's Wonder Woman twirl.
Twirl or whatever, Superman Wonder Woman twirl, and then came out of the telephone booth as the actor Bob Haskins. I was like,
because weird.
And then Bob Haskins speaks in a weird it speaks in Jerry's voice, and as a kid I didn't know who Bob Haskins was, but then I was like, oh, that's Bob Haskins from Pierce Brosnan's first movie, Long Good Friday.
Yeah, probably Roger Rabbit is most people's go-to reference for that actor.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
He's in a very good I can't remember what it's called now. It's an Atom Egoyan film. He's very, very good in it.
He was also very good in a Jet Li movie called Unleashed, where he plays the villain.
Is that the movie with the bus that crashes with Sarah Polley and all the kids get killed?
No.
That's sort of the Atom Egoyan film. No, it's another one.
Okay.
I can't remember what it is, but he's very good. He's a fantastic actor. But I agree. I think
passed away way too young.
Oh yeah.
Most people will say Roger Rabbit, yeah.
So
and Super Mario Brothers.
Yes, good job.
I don't know about that, but
yeah.
But
let's go, Jason. You seem to have a lot of things to say about that movie. Go ahead, man.
No, I mean that I was just gonna say, like, that kind of sums up all my notes, is saying that watching it as an adult versus a 10-year-old kid, like, I was able to recognize all the London locations, as well as recognize all the pop culture references better, because having lived life.
Because you're a man, you're an adult, you have a brain.
And I knew who Bob Haskins was. I was like, oh, that's Dominic West. Obviously, no one knew who Dominic West was in 1997, but
no, all good points. I love the meta commentary on fame and pop culture, that and it's at times it's very sardonic film. It's all it needs is a few curses there, a little bit more vulgarity, and I think it would be funnier with a little bit more spice here and there. And there are jokes on the guys that are making the movie while the movie's happening, and they're sort of pitching the movie, and these plots are horrible and they're stupid, but at the same time you see things that happen in the movie, and when they have flashbacks on how the Spice Girls actually started, and it's, oh yeah, no, we just started dancing and we formed our own band, and when you find out the truth, when you do a little bit of wiki, and you're like, oh, it's just people that brought these girls together and signed contracts and signed away their identity just for fame and fortune, and they're doing that as you watch the movie. It's not Jerry Halliwell, it's Ginger Spice, it's not Victoria Adams, it's Posh Spice. They don't have their own identity, and they're it's really creepy when they're in the bus being I was like, oh, there's a nastiness that, as kids, kids probably didn't realize how messed up the way the Spice Girls in the movie actually live. But when you're an adult and you look at it, it's just like, it's messed up. And
I
I'm
mean,
like,
it's
this could be seen as them losing their mind when they meet aliens.
Losing their
they're
minds.
yeah, they're going to boot camp. They have people sort of climbing from the toilet to take pictures of them. Just weird imagery in this film that you're like, wow, that's messed up.
I mean,
Like the guy coming out from the toilet
yeah,
is horror, buddy horror type of creepy.
yeah. I mean, I think that kind of sums up everything that I had, everything I recognized. Rewatching it, because like I said, like being very familiar with how K-pop band auditions go and how their lives are controlled. I I I know, like, the music industry is like a very profitable, well-oiled machine, and unfortunately, there's dark sides of it. And this movie portrayed that in a family-friendly manner, the most family-friendly manner possible, as well as about the rise of trash media in Britain.
Yeah, I don't know if the movie. I mean, Matthew was saying it could have used more vulgarity. I didn't.
I'm not. No. I think you could have an even funnier movie with more vulgarity, but in 1997, people weren't ready for that. It's just me in 2021. If I was, if I could tweak that movie and go back to the original film stock and find a line where they're cursing, or a little improvisation there, there's a zaniness and that's and a spice that you get moments of it throughout the picture, but I would, through editing, bring that element up. Like I said, the
You
scene
want
where,
more spice. You want more. There are already
I
5 spices in the movie.
yes, but
How many more do you
that
need?
you always want more spice. And at the same time, there are jokes that I just like. Every time you see, I don't remember the actor. I think he was isn't that the Hollywood guy, a guy who was on what's the Cheers? I think he was an actor on Cheers. Might be
Mm.
mistaken, but he's sort of the Hollywood mogul type, trying to make every time you cut back to them, and every time you have the subplot about the media mogul. These are my even Richard E. Grant is funny how insane. Like, he's threatening to kill himself multiple times throughout the picture, and it's a PG movie, and he's like, "I'm gonna go kill myself now."
Mm.
And yet he even had a rope, unfortunately. Like,
Yes,
he's just,
yes. I'm like,
He was ready. Yeah, he was ready to go.
he was
Literally, he
really.
was ready to go.
It's in a PG movie. There's a lead character threatening suicide in a PG movie. Wonderful.
that's all I
That's
got.
the type of joke I like.
Yeah. Mhm.
Sneak in some suicide. Sneak in a little suicide gag in a movie for kids.
Yeah, that's why there's a subversive element to the Spice World movie that I didn't know was in there. Like, it really, like, if I'd known, I think I would have watched that movie way earlier. Is it is it a masterpiece? Of course it's not, but there are good things there. Like, I'm genuinely had a good time watching it, even though it's fading away from my memory and I'll never watch that movie again. For what it was, I loved it.
That concludes everything.
Right.
All right, that's all I had, really. I think you summed up everything.
Brilliant.
How about you,
brilliant.
Edgar? Because I feel like me and Jason have been rambling on and on and on about the Spice Girls. I think we watched it around the same time. So I was texting you this week while we were watching this movie and another one we're going to be discussing soon. I want to know what you thought about the movie a little bit more.
It's all right.
You remind me of that 10-year-old girl that I made up. That's just,
Have you
is
got-
it a good movie? That's good.
guys, let's kind of finish up, to be honest with you. So
No,
you can
no,
cut
no,
it
no,
short.
no.
My watch is I'm wearing one of my favorites, my AV8.
Okay.
But it's a custom AV8. I can receive, in Spy Who Loved Me, when Bond gets the little
Yeah.
text message. I got
Telegram.
yeah, I got one. Hold on a second.
Wait.
Yeah, okay. We're getting a message, guys. It reads, oh, God. Do we have people everywhere?
I think we need to send you to the same mental hospital as the Spice Girls because you were holding an existent paper in your fingers. But yes, we do have people everywhere. See there what I'm doing? I'm doing it because I got the card to cheat.
That's
So
not a cheat.
we are at the James Bond Complex on Facebook, on Instagram at the James Bond Complex, also Twitter, the Bond Complex, and we have a website at the James Bond Complex, which it's a Tumblr account, but eventually might change. We have we're also on multiple other platforms. Mainly, people know Apple Podcasts. If you can go there, give us 5-star review. It's always appreciated. We are hosted by Anchor, which we thank them. And Jason, your Twitter, yeah, I should put your Instagram next time I make the cards. I'm gonna add you. It's JASXON88, right on Instagram.
Yes, sir. And you can find posts that are related to Fleming film and everything in between.
And your incredible wardrobe.
Oh, thank you.
Wow.
My Victoria.
You know what? Good question. If we were all Spice Girls, Jason, I think you'd be Posh Spice. You have no choice. You have to be Posh Spice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely not Sporty Spice. I feel like that's more Edgar's.
Probably.
I guess I'll be either baby. Yeah, you know what? I have a baby face. I'll be baby.
I like it. I agree.
All right. So I think that's it for this week's episode.
So just as James Bond always returns, and even when he's playing a music industry mogul, so too will the James Bond Complex with something next week. Sur ce, merci. Toujours un plaisir. À la prochaine.
Au revoir.
들어줘서 감사합니다. 안녕히 계세요.
Love it.
Hasta la próxima.
Brown.